lesson 2. This is now multiplying and dividing of integers. We've already talked about adding and subtracting. Again, this is review. So you'll be able to multiply and divide integers and rational numbers, and we'll go more into detail next week on rational numbers. There is a video posted. But it's important to understand that these rules are different than adding and subtracting. Multiplying and dividing have their own set of rules. Remember, when we multiply integers, if they have the same sign, whether it's both positive or both negative, our answer's positive. When we multiply and they have different signs, so one positive, one negative, our final answer is negative. Well, let's go and do a couple practice problems. If I look at A, okay, I'm doing 4 times 6. We all know 4 times 6 is 24. But I have a negative and a positive, so I should end up with a negative 24. Good job. Now B, I have a negative times a negative, so they're both the same sign, and I'm multiplying, so that gives me a positive 63. And then last but not least, 11 times 7, I'm pretty sure everyone knows is 77. However, 1 is negative, so I should have a negative 77. Pretty straightforward. You have to know the rules, and you have to know they're different than the addition rules. Okay, so this is the same. I'm kind of fusing together our first topic of order of operations with this multiplication of negatives and positives. So first I need to look. All right, I've got multiplication and subtraction within this letter A. First I need to multiply. So 3 times negative 4x gives me negative 12x minus 15x. I just bring down what's there. So now I have a negative and a negative, and I'm subtracting. So that really gives me negative 27x. Okay, if I look at the next one, this is just multiplying. So I'm going to multiply my numbers times my numbers and then my variables to give me negative 24 RS. C is kind of like A. It's kind of a mixture of A and B. I'm going to first multiply. I'm going to get negative 72xy. Then I have minus 12xy. That leaves me with negative 84xy. Do you see how the two concepts are merging together here? Okay. Now, here's where those rational numbers come in. I'm dealing with a fraction. This is exactly like my order of operations. I'm going to replace my variable with its value. Now I'm going to do my exponents. I have 2/5 squared, which means 2/5 times 2/5. I'm going to do that first, just make my life a little easier. I get 4/25. Now going back to my multiplying fractions that we learned in 6th grade and practiced again in 7th grade, because I've got my negatives, that's where we practiced it. I'm going to cross simplify, not cross multiply, cross simplify. My 4 and my 8, I can cross my 4 out and get a 1 and my 8 out and get a 2 because they can both be divided by 4. Looking the other way, I can divide both of those by 5. So my 5 then becomes a 1 and my 25 becomes a 5. Remember, I'm doing a positive times a negative, so I'm going to get a negative 1/10. Okay, let's go to 5n. That means 5 times n. Well, 5 times 2/5. Okay, that's fine. I make my 5 a fraction. Again, I can cross simplify. Both of these will just become 1. But what happens? I get 2/1, which is simply 2. Now this kind of fuses a little more together, but look how simple it is. Still replace my n with 2/5. I'm going to put 15/1 and handle my multiplication first. I can simplify my 15 to 3 and my 5 to 1. That leaves me with 6 over 1 plus 6. Well, I know 6 over 1 is the same thing as 6, so I really have 6 plus 6 to give me 12. Okay? If this is a bit confusing for you, I would copy these 3 problems down and attempt it again on a separate sheet. This is where it's going to start coming into play. Pre-algebra, algebra moving forward is fraction-based. So please make sure you know how to work with fractions. Okay, here's just a word problem to practice those skills. An average person needs to drink 3 liters of water a day. How many liters of water does an average person drink in a month? Well, what's in this problem? 3 liters of water every day. So I have 3 on one day, then another 3 is 6, and it builds. Well, they're wanting to know how much they'll drink in a month. So you first have to estimate that 1 month is basically 30 days. Almost every month is 30 days. So we're going to go with 30. Well, the quick way of doing this would be 3 times 30 to give me 90 liters a month. That is a lot of water. Okay, let's get into our quotient. A quotient means division. So when I am dividing integers, both positive, both negative, okay, so same sign, I end up with a positive answer. When I have opposite signs, I end up with a negative answer. So it's the same rule as multiplication. What does this look like? Well, let's look at A. 66 divided by 11. I'm sure most of you are sitting there saying, oh, that's 6. You're right. 66 divided by 11 is 6. However, it's a negative 66 divided by a positive 11, so a negative 6. Remember I told you in our order of operations video, a fraction bar means divide. You are going to see this more often than you will letter A, the way it's written that way. So 48 positive divided by a negative 3 is a negative 16. And that is a set of factors that you might want to commit to memory. 3 times 16 is 48. It's going to come up again. Uh-oh. A fraction within a fraction. What are we going to do? Most of you probably said, I'll just wait for her to give me the answer. For those of you that have paused the video and are trying it on your own, awesome. Because this is not really that complicated. It's our fraction rules. The top divided by the bottom. Most of you know keep, change, reciprocal. Now, I rewrote my 1 as 1 over 1 because I need another fraction. I changed my division to multiplication, and I want the reciprocal. Then all I have to do is multiply across, and I get 4/3. And since my original problem was a positive by a positive, I am done. So this one is a little different in that there's now a variable. So I can't do 24 minus 8. But I can separate this fraction into 24 divided by 4 and 8x divided by 4. I can then do 24 divided by 4 and get 6. And since I have 8x, I can divide that by 4 and get 2x. Then I have found the quotient. I can't do anything else right now because I don't know what x is. So that is the pattern here. So if I separate these two fractions, 32x divided by 4 and 8 divided by 4, I get 8x minus 2. So I'm hoping you're pausing and you're going to try these on your own. Let's separate this next one. 45 divided by 5 and 10x divided by 5. Good job. You should have gotten 9 plus 2x. This is going to come into play a lot this year, so it's important that you understand this. So this is kind of right back to our order of operations video we watched the other day. I've got to replace the variables with what they're worth. So if I replace A with -3 and B with -2, here's where putting those parentheses is super important. I now have -6 over -3 plus 2 to give me -6 divided by -1, which is really a +6. Okay, I'm going to replace my variables with their value. Do you see now why you need parentheses? Because my top really becomes 4 plus 2, and my bottom becomes -3 squared. So I get 6/9. You are not done. You're correct, 6 doesn't divide by 9 evenly, but I can simplify that fraction to 2/3. That's your right answer. Then last, I replace A with -3 and B with -2. So this really gives me -3 divided by 3 plus 2, and I get -3/5. I know I kind of went through that fast, but you just did the order of operations with this. You're always welcome to pause at any time as we go through these steps. All right, so here is a word problem with division. When you see times bigger in a word problem, you're not going to multiply. You're actually going to use division. What this says is Russia is equal to 7 times Algeria. I'm sorry. So really what we're doing is we know Russia. If I do 7 times Algeria, I get Russia. So to figure out A, I actually divide both sides by 7, right? And of course you can use a calculator. You don't need one because it divides evenly, but you'd get 2,442,606 squared kilometers. If you don't put measurements when it's a real world problem, your number's naked, and we're going to talk more about naked numbers. But if you haven't done so already, subscribe below so that you are able to get the new lessons as they come about, or search for other topics that might help you. But more important, you always need to take time to reflect and summarize what you learned, even if it was a review for you.